lot of guys do flip it and take the profit. We have the Land Sharks community, and a lot of guys get hooked on those big fat checks. I would rather get a small check every month than a big fat check today, because there's never been a piece of land that I've ever bought that I could not sell. I don't care if it's wetlands, I don't care if it's a swamp. Like, my dad rents out 11 acres of swampland for $6,500 a year cash. Honestly, if I left the military, I would lose all these rentals because I was barely breaking even with them. And I rented out the rooms. I was actually making money from actually owning that house.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Commercial Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. I'm really excited for today's guest. We have Brent Bowers. He is the owner of the Land Sharks, which is an awesome company name. We're just talking about that. He's a former veteran, so thank you so much for your service. Obviously, Jesse's a veteran too, if you guys have been listening, and I'm really excited for this conversation. There's a topic that's just it's pretty hot right now. I'm sure you've been doing it for a long time, but right now it seems to be a trending thing, and it's land flipping. So Brent's going to talk to us a lot today about kind of land flipping and how he takes that income and rolls it into long-term investments in the commercial real estate world. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Brent. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. Like I was saying, I know a lot of people who are doing land flipping. I think Jesse does too. And it's interesting because land is so complex and confusing. And in the commercial real estate world, typically land is like 18 to 24 month timelines. But, so like flipping sounds counterintuitive. So I'm excited to dive into like actually how it works and what you guys look for. But for people who don't know much about you, give us your background.
Yeah. So I started in real estate in 2007, bought that first rental property, and then 2008, 2009 was a little tough on me. Joined the military because I was thinking maybe I can do something a little different. This sucks, talking about the real estate side of things. So joined the military in 2009, went to Afghanistan, came back for a year, went to Afghanistan again, lived in Germany throughout that time. So really, I kind of took a break from real estate until about 2013. And, Army sent me to college to be an officer. So I bought the house right next door to the college, rented out the rooms, did something called house hacking, bought another house with the cash out refi, and it just kept rolling it. Before I knew it, I had like 7 doors. And our first baby came about 2015. 2016 was when he was born, January. And I was like, I got to get out of the military. And I cannot do it with my rentals. Honestly, if I left the military, I would lose all these rentals because I was barely breaking even with them. And then something would always break. So I really wasn't cash flowing, even though I thought I was. I was maxed out on my Amex, maxed out on Capital One, maxed out on Home Depot because I'm always fixing something. And thank God people took credit cards back then for that kind of stuff. So I started listening to podcasts just like this and found a guy talking about flipping land and doubling his money overnight pretty much, or within a couple of weeks. And I was like, holy cow, I don't think I've ever made any money doing these rentals. So I immediately jumped right into it. So here we are today, several years later. I haven't had a real job since 2018, enjoying life, and we've taken off tomorrow to go race 4-wheelers. And I just can't believe what real estate's given us.
Yeah, that's such a cool story. I'm curious, what part of Germany were you in?
I was in Bamberg.
I'm not sure I know exactly where that is. I was in Germany for like 8 months, responding to all the Ukraine stuff. And
okay.
We were near Baumholder, Town area, Misau.
Yep.
That's where we were at for a while.
We're about 4 hours away from there.
Okay. Yeah, we ventured a little bit out, but we were maxed out on our time and stuff like that. So we had fun for sure, but it was a lot. So joined the military. You said you decided to be an officer. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
So you went to or I guess you probably did like 2 years at a college, and then you probably jumped back in. Yep.
Yeah, Army gave me 21 months to get a 4-year degree. It was quite the load, but I just come off 2 back-to-back deployments. Yep, green to gold, active duty, and I didn't mind it.
The cool thing is they give you BAH, which means that they give you money for housing.
Yeah.
And you go out there, buy a house, the VA loan, you can house hack it that way. It's really amazing. I actually wound up buying our duplex with the VA loan, lived in it for a little bit, fixed it up, turned it into an Airbnb, started doing travel nurses. But like you, we really didn't make a bunch of money. We really didn't make hardly any money at all. I think pretty much all of it went back into updates or fixing things or sending the Airbnb tenants random stuff. So we're done with it. It's still honestly a pain in our necks to the day, but we're really close to getting it sold and then being all in on commercial real estate. Tell us a little bit about like how how you were house hacking, and tell us more about that journey with the Army, specifically for those out there that are active duty or reserves.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that house hacking really gave me my opportunity to get started in real estate. I had already tried in 2007 and it didn't go super well. But when I had rented that house, I bought a bank-owned foreclosure in Melbourne, Florida, right next to Florida Tech. And I rented out the rooms. I was actually making money from actually owning that house. Plus, I was pocketing all the BAH, the basic allowance for housing. And then I had built up quite a bit of equity, almost like $65,000. So I did a cash out refi and bought the house right down the street and then rented that one out. And then later on, after I commissioned and left that house, I left it as a rental, like a house hack type thing. I was renting it to actually DOD, Department of Defense contractors, because I was all about background checks. If I was going to have people sharing walls, I wanted them to have background. So I loved having the military people in there. Or some capacity of it.
Yeah.
And then I commissioned, went to Colorado, then they sent me to Fort Knox to do a mission. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to be away for 6 months. Let's bring you back to, not Germany, to Vero. You know, maybe your mom can help out with kids. And we ended up Airbnb-ing our house back in 2016. And that was another, just a pivotal moment because I was making almost $4,000 a month net per month for the 3 months we Airbnb'd our house. And it was still new and exciting back then, right at Colorado Springs, right outside the gate. You could see the mountains. That was good times. We probably could have paid that house off in a couple of years if we would have kept doing that.
Yeah, Airbnb had definitely had a moment in time where, like, I feel like it was 2016 time frame where people were making stupid money. And then everybody caught on, and now obviously, you know, you can still make a lot of money. We've had, I think one of the last episodes we did was with the Airbnb guy, and you can still make a lot of money on Airbnb, but you got to really differentiate yourself and spend a lot of money on the property and be in the best locations to stand out. But I want to jump into the land flipping stuff. So like I said, I've heard it a lot. It's kind of a buzzword right now. For people who are listening, even myself included, even though in real estate, I still don't know much about the flipping side of land.
Yeah.
So give us
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, give us a high level of it, and then we'll dig into it.
Yeah, so I put in my refrad pack is what they called it as an Army officer, and they weren't letting logistician or quartermasters out. And my friends were telling me, "Don't even think about it. Like, you're wasting your time." Yeah. I said, "No, I'm out." And I gave myself about 2 years that I was going to live off of my land flipping money to get out. I really only needed to make almost $5,000 a month. So what I did was I started sending offer letters and postcard. Well, it started with postcards to the tax delinquent list. I was sending people that were on the tax delinquent list, the county held tax lien list, like garbage land, not efficient, not buildable, not accessible, landlocked stuff. And you're like, why would you do that? Because I didn't have much money and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I just believed that one man's trash is eventually another man's treasure. So I started getting these parcels of land for a couple $100 and I would sell them for $5,000. Then I started selling them for financing, where people would make monthly payments. Before I knew it, I'm at $12,000 a month coming in net. And I mean net. I never had any water heaters to fix, no roofs to repair, no evictions. Now, granted, I did take land back. Sometimes people would stop paying me for it and I'd have to take it and do a cancellation of contract for deed. But you talk about that house hack. They didn't call it house hacking back then. And then we did the Airbnb and then land from about 2016 to about 2021. Land was just, I could sell it so fast. And I mean, the transactions just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We were up to like $44,000 a month in monthly payments where we're basically being the bank. We're selling this land on seller financing. And about 2023 is when I pivoted. Well, I did my first one in 2021, but I started putting brand new mobile homes on the land. And now it's just been like an extremely repeatable business. And my buyer's pool has gotten so large because you could take a $12,000 parcel of land. It's worth $12,000. But when you put a septic and a well and a brand new mobile home and a driveway, now it's worth $220,000. And there's a lot of spread in that profit. So we're hitting about $50K net per transaction.
Wow. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. So the seller financing thing is very interesting because if you know Tyler Cobble, he's a big commercial real estate guy. We just dropped him in our last episode, but I've seen him talk about how like one of the best things he did was he bought a building and then sold it on seller financing. He's like, everybody talks about buying on seller financing, selling on selling on seller financing is like sick. So that's an interesting strategy. So when you hear a lot of people talking about land flipping, are they doing the same thing, or are they just flipping it and taking the profit?
A lot of guys do flip it and take the profit. We have the Land Sharks community, and a lot of guys get hooked on those big fat checks. I would rather get a small check every month than a big fat check today, because I can base my life on that. If I'm earning, let's just say I want to have a lifestyle and I work 1 day a week and I need to make 17 grand a month to do that. Okay, well, I need to do 17 land deals paying me $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And oh yeah, well, Brent, they do pay off. Well, here's the thing. I try and spread it out as long as possible, because the banks have it figured out. They do something called a 30-year mortgage. Well, the first pretty much 10 years of that mortgage is all interest. And most people move every 5 to 7 years, or build or sell it. Mm-hmm. So they pay me for 5 years. Their balance is went down like pennies on the dollar, or has went down hardly at all. So yeah, I want to be the bank as well. I actually have a commercial office space for sale right now on seller financing in Colorado Springs. I'll sell it on seller financing. I'd love to do that. I'll be comparable with the bank. I want to be the bank. At the end of the day, they're the biggest, prettiest, nicest buildings in every city and every state. You don't pay, they take it.
Mm-hmm. We might have a buyer for that, so we'll have to talk afterwards.
Let's go. 2708 East Fountain Boulevard in Colorado Springs. It's a beautiful building, completely renovated.
That's awesome.
That's super interesting. So when you're looking for these lots, what specifically were you looking for in the beginning, and how has that changed for you today?
Brother, I wish I knew what I was looking for in the beginning. I would send a postcard. If anybody wants a copy of this postcard, go to thelandsharks.com/postcard, get a copy of it, download it, whatever. I think it'll send you an email with it. I would send this to anybody that was on the tax delinquent list. Then I would send it to anybody that owned land. And that got a little hard. I was I had no clue how to comp this stuff. Mm-hmm. I was looking on Redfin and Zillow and calling all the realtors I could possibly find. And I would get lucky. Sometimes the realtor would make an offer. So I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of building the process. Yeah. Now it's completely changed. 100% way more of a business. I now go on Redfin or Zillow and I see where the land's selling, where the hot spots are, where land's trading, because that tells me one thing: there's demand there. Once I figure out that demand, we price out the land, we figure out what it's selling for, and we use our software program to send offer letters every single day to these owners. That's where it's turned into. Now it's turned into where I just go and check my email and see if I have a land deal today, rather than sending out a bunch of postcards and I'm having to answer a bunch of phone calls. What will you offer me? Type thing, which that was great. It worked back then, but it takes just as much time to make 50,000 as it does to make 5,000.
That's cool. Yeah, we're trying to build our business to be somewhat similar to that, where we just send out a bunch of mailers, and we obviously do a lot of cold calling and stuff like that. So do you mind jumping a little bit more into that system of how it's just coming into your email?
Yeah, brother. And I'll tell you, I've done the cold calling, I've done the texting, we've done the pay-per-click. It all works. Mm-hmm. I always recommend anybody listening to this, pick one channel and dominate it, perfect it, almost like your first son or your first daughter. You know when they're going to wake up, you know what they're going to ask for breakfast. You know it that well before you add another channel. Now, there are force multipliers that you can do, because a lot of people can't afford the mail, but you can afford something. Everyone should create a budget. Okay, I could spend $5 a day. All right, let's send 5 offers a day. And in addition to that, 25 dials. I don't care if you connect with anybody. Just do 25 dials. You'll get lucky. You go and ask 10 ladies at the bar if they'll dance with you. One's going to say yes eventually, So
numbers game.
Been my luck anyways. It's an absolute numbers game. So here's, if I can dive into it more, I'll pick an area. You guys mentioned North Carolina. Number one incoming state right now. People are buying, they're building, they're fighting over land. It's like a land rush out there right now. So you see where that land's selling. You see what it's selling for. You see what it's selling for by the acre and by the square foot. Once you figure that out, you reverse engineer what you got to make. I'm not doing a land deal unless I'm going to make at least 10,000. If I can flip a land and make 10,000, flip a parcel of land and make 10,000, I'll just in and out, happy. Hopefully I can sell or finance it and collect payments. If not, we'll look at it as, okay, can we put a brand new mobile home on it? That's where it gets even juicier. Now, these take 4 months rather than a 30-day land flip. I will say now, right now, as we're recording this, my land flips have went from a 30 days a year ago to now more like 2.5 months. So things have slowed down on just a quick general land flip. That's why I started putting the brand new mobile homes on it, because I was like, man, interest rates are high. I feel like God is always putting me in the right place at the right time with real estate. For a while, it was a house hacking. Then a while, it was Airbnbs. For a while, it was land. Now, I'm not saying land still doesn't Like I'm not able to just throw it on the internet and it's gone the next day. That was what we saw from like 2018 to 2021. And I mean, COVID really pushed a lot of that. And people might say, well, Brent, is it saturated? Is it a bad time to get in? No, it is never a bad time to start in real estate. Like you gotta get started somehow. And I think land is the easiest, cheapest, most affordable, fastest way to make profit in real estate. But more of that system, Jesse, to answer your question, we use a software program that we basically upload what we want to offer for each parcel.
Okay.
And let's just say you're a landowner in Durham, North Carolina. You're going to receive it saying, hey, we'll pay you $8,462.37 for your land. If you're interested, just sign it, email it back. And then we get them back. Now, not everyone's going to say yes. Most people are going to call, most people are going to throw that thing away. Some are going to call and be like, is this legit? Some people are going to call and say, are you kidding me? Like, you've offended me and my whole entire family. I try not to take those calls. We actually took our phone numbers off those letters just because I was like, let's test something out. More people email them now.
That's awesome. So I have a question. Hearing everybody talking about land flipping, who the heck are the buyers for these things? Like you were talking about earlier on, you were buying land that didn't perk and with water on it and, blue lines, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And you were flipping those things. I mean, I imagine it's changed since then, but I still hear about people doing those deals. Who's buying this? Is it somebody just want a land bank, or is it like the couple who wants to build a house, or like who are the buyers for this?
Yeah. You just mentioned two of them right there. People want to own American land. People want to own a piece of America, and owning a piece of land is tangible. You can farm it. You can camp on it. You can hunt on it. You can go ride four-wheelers on it. Like that's what we're doing this weekend. We're going to race four-wheelers. We're going to camp. People want to have that for themselves. There's never been a piece of land that I've ever bought that I could not sell. I don't care if it's wetlands. I don't care if it's a swamp. Like my dad rents out 11 acres of swampland for $6,500 a year cash, like to a hunter. And it's surrounded by protected land. Water management protects it. But for a while there, I was buying these non-buildable parcels in Costilla, Colorado, like the cheapest county in Colorado. And I thought I got screwed because I bought a non-buildable parcel of land. No, the truck driver wanted to pay me a couple $100s a month for the next 5 years for it, just to park his big rig on it. So he could park on his own piece of land once a month when he rolled through there.
So I guess the key is you're just buying these things at like such a low basis that you can turn around and you have lots of options. Like you're not paying like anywhere close to market. You're probably getting them for like pennies on the dollar, right?
Yeah, for those parcels, yeah, absolutely. When it's not buildable, not accessible, you better have a smoking hot deal, because that's how you make it encouraging. But when you're selling land for cheaper than everybody else and you're offering financing, it's almost like, shoot, what I got to lose? Like I'm not putting my money in the stock market. I'd rather own a piece of America for it. And I have moved into, like I said earlier, it's just as easy to make $50,000 as it is to make $5,000. So when I started moving into the more higher demand land, I want a realtor to sell anything I buy now. If I'm going to buy a piece of land, I want a realtor to go out there and be the one selling it and promoting it and marketing it. So realtors generally like to see the land selling for like, 50,000 or more. That's kind of my sweet spot now. But really, I'm doing less and less just regular vacant land flips these days where I'm buying new stuff. Now I'm taking back land that people stopped paying me on. I have to resell that. But probably 3 out of 4 of my deals now are a piece of land that I buy that I'm going to put a brand new mobile home on.
Interesting. Yeah. So I need you to find a piece of land in North Durham and then seller finance it to me, because that's what we were looking for before we bought this house and we couldn't find anything. We want I'm
not even in that market. That's a good market though.
Yeah. We want to find like 5 to 10 acres eventually and build a house on it. So yeah, I'm one of those buyers, but I always thought like if you could get it seller financing land is tough. Like you got to put 30-40% down if you're going through the bank.
Yeah.
So like, if it's seller financing, that would be so much more attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
what's going on, guys? I'm super excited. I want to invite you to an event personally. So Commercial Academy Live is happening this May 15th through 17th. It's 2026 in Las Vegas. And this is not your typical commercial real estate conference. It's a 3-day immersive training program focused entirely on real-world commercial real estate investing. You'll learn proven frameworks, practical deal strategies, and systems that have helped investors close their first deal and next deal with confidence. Whether you're brand new or you're already doing deals, this will sharpen your skills and expand your network. Spots are limited. If you're interested, I'm going to put a link in the description. Check it out and use discount code Blueprint at checkout for a discount, and I'll see you in Vegas.
And that's how you sell land. I think that's how you sell anything. I'm getting rid of all my, you guys mentioned it. Jesse, I think you said you're trying to get rid of all your residential houses. I am too.
Yeah.
If I got to sell it to you on seller financing, I'm happy to, and that's really how we've been renting them out, like just a lease with the option to buy.
Yeah.
I would rather deal with owners than tenants.
We can sell your house in Durham on seller financing too in a heartbeat.
Not yet. I'll tell you when.
Okay.
I'll tell you when.
Call me first. Call me first.
Someone I love very much still living in it.
Okay. Awesome. So I was going to ask you were talking about the tax delinquent list. This might be like a rookie thing, but since we don't mess too much with residential, is it easy to get your hand on that list?
Yeah, it's getting easier and easier now. At one time, the counties would give you this stuff for free, and you either call the tax collector or the treasurer's office. Now they kind of have a fee because they found out they can sell it. But it's fairly easy. You might have to go in there with a 12 pack of donuts or something like that. You might have to talk to a couple people, but it's worth calling around, because here's the thing: if someone's a couple years behind on taxes, they're screaming, "I don't want this land," or it's a burden.
Yeah, interesting. And then is there like a specific separate list for land, or is that going to include like houses, everything that's tax delinquent?
It usually includes houses. It really does. I have I don't want to actually even get into that. You could sometimes they'll separate them, but you might have to do a little legwork or some scrubbing yourself, or hire someone to do it.
Okay.
With the parcels that you're looking for, are you looking for a specific type of zoning, or are you kind of agnostic there?
Yeah, I really kind of just go for residential land, vacant residential land.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know if it was like a R40. I know it like that varies by county sometimes, but like if you were looking for a specific type of zoning in it, had to be but it sounds like you're agnostic in it. Like it doesn't even matter if it's wetlands.
Yeah, well, now my process has changed where I want to buy land where it's actually selling in these smaller pockets. So I micro down in the communities and neighborhoods. And I use a program called the landsharksdata.com, and I'll actually pull a list of everything in that area. And everyone that owns a piece of land will get an offer in that area, rather than doing like a whole zip code or a whole county. It works that way, but that's a lot more kind of legwork. And I like to do the legwork on the front end and know what I'm getting, rather than do it on the back end.
Yeah.
And you're sending these offers, sounds like by email?
No, we send it out via United States Postal Service, first class mail. That way it forwards to the forwarding address.
In case it's incorrect or something, is what you're saying?
Yeah. A lot of times people don't update the records, so it needs to be forwarded to somewhere else, or someone dies and then it forwards to a son's house. Then they get, hey, you offered this much for dad's land. Is that still a thing?
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes
So
sense.
I want to talk about how you said you basically use this as your active income, and then you take the money and flip into commercial buildings, because obviously the podcast is about commercial real estate, but we wanted to kind of expose people to the possibility. There's lots of ways to make active income, get your feet wet in real estate. You got land flipping, or like what we do, brokerage, or whatever it may be. But before we move on from this topic, give us the 1 to 2 minute crash course from start to finish on how somebody would get started in land flipping. So you pull a list from the tax record, you send out the mailer, and then what? Give us a 2 minute class on start to finish how you would get started.
All right, start the clock. All right, so we find land. We go on Redfin, Zillow. We see where land's trading. Then we price that land out. We see what it's actually trading for, what it's selling for, by the square foot or by the acre. Once you know that, you start, okay, let's pull a list of land owners in that area. You can go to the landsharksdata.com. I think it's $25 a month. And then you pull a list of that area, and then you can send them handwritten offer letters, or you can use a software program to do it. We use a program called Pebble. I have a link for that. You'll get all my templates and everything we offer. They give a 14-day free trial, $50 mail credit. Actually, I think they have a free version now. So I recommend starting with the free version. Let's keep revenue in the first position. Let's make some money rather than going out there and spending a lot of money. If you want my link for all my templates, you guys will get access to it, or anybody that's using it. Just go to thelandsharks.com/CRM, as in customer relationship manager, CRM. thelandsharks.com/CRM. So you send those offer letters Now they come back. You're like, oh crap, what do I do now? They're signed. Now you might be able to send 5. You might have to send 500 to get one. There's competitive areas, so you're gonna have to send off more offers. But again, it's a numbers game. It's the first one's not gonna say yes. But let's just say you spend $1,000 on offer letters. That's a lot for most people to invest in a business. But if you're making $10,000 per and you send 1,000, you get one, your net profit of $9,000. Most people don't calculate that. Like most businesses that start, they don't make money for like 5 years. You can make money in 3 months in this business, sometimes even less. So once you have that signed offer letter, it's like, oh my God, now what do I do with this? Well, you can go to that landsharksdata.com and see who the cash buyers are in that area that are buying those lots today. Maybe start with that, figure out what they're paying. Have your buyer lined up already. I would call that wholesaling. So you see who the buyers are. You reach out to them and be like, hey, I see you just bought a parcel on 123 Main Street. Are you still buying? And what are you paying for, half acre parcels or 10,000 square foot parcels? You can see usually what they're paying for them. Are you open to another one? That's all you gotta do. Yes or no. You get 10 of those people, you get one of those things under contract, you just sell your contract. That's probably the easiest, fastest way. I think my 2 minutes is up.
No, it's okay. I'm curious. So for people who aren't like realtors or, aren't savvy to this stuff, where do you find the data of who's buying these things?
The landsharksdata.com.
Okay. And that's your software, I assume, right?
No. I partnered with a company called Zamplo. I am not a software guy.
Okay.
I'm really good at saying the landsharksdata.com. No, I'm not like, I just get on the internet. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, I'd say the reason why I've been successful in real estate, and there's been people who've done way better than me at this. We've got land sharks doing like, netting $500,000 a year, just flipping land.
Wow.
I think the reason why I've been successful is I just take action. I don't always have the right answer. I make a lot of mistakes too.
For sure.
I think that's important though. Like people just don't take action. They get scared. They're like, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to get stuck with land. I'm going to lose 12 grand or whatever it is. Right. And then just don't do it. Partner up with somebody that maybe is doing it now, kind of learn the ropes, do something to take action, whatever it is.
100%. That's
right.
Same thing. Jesse and I are definitely not the most successful people in the world, but we have bought a couple buildings in the last year or two. People ask us and they're like, how did you, get several buildings in such a short amount of time? And we're like, we just went for it. Like exactly what you said. We didn't have the right answers. We didn't know everything. We just went for it and took action. That's such a key thing. It's like, I feel like that alone can be the differentiating factor between people who own real estate and people who don't, is just take action and do it. Like obviously don't overextend yourself, but do it.
Yeah, let tomorrow worry about itself. Like, let's just get to the first step. Let's pick a dadgum market and let's start making offers. Well, what do I offer? Golly, just go out there and do it. Like, and keep doing it. And I think a lot of people just get stuck on analysis paralysis. They get on YouTube. If you'd have told me like I'd have 3 kids with this lady, 13 years later, like would I went for it? Like, you just got to go for it. Like, my wife was on the beach, met her and like we talked to her and that's it. Like I'll just let tomorrow take care of itself type thing.
100%.
That's cool.
100%. So you're taking these profits, and then you're rolling them into, you mentioned light industrial, and I think you said mobile home parks as well, or are we talking about just putting like kind of developing them yourself?
No, I've never developed an actual mobile home park. So I take the money from this active income and I talk to my accountant like every month and figure out what I need to buy that year to hopefully lower my federal IRS tax bill. So last year I bought a mobile home park and I did something called a cost segregation to depreciate that mobile home park. And what's really cool is that seller of that mobile home park is letting me he's doing what's called a seller carryback at 4% interest for 12 years. So it's going to be paid off in 12 years by the tenant's money. Now this thing is cash flowing as it is, not a lot, but it's going to appreciate over that 12 years. My principal mortgage is paying down over that 12 years. I also got to save about $80,000 on my IRS tax bill. So I take that money and I turn it into more money. So that's my tax play, or my long-term wealth building. We've done it with a couple light industrial buildings, our office space, 4,500 square foot commercial building in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. We just finished renovations on, but that's kind of like the long-term wealth plan.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And that works. it's the repeatable. It's, the cost seg is an amazing tool to accelerate it too. I believe it's back to 100%. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Don't quote me on it necessarily, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all the way back. So bonus depreciation to do 100%, take 100% and 1 year of depreciation of the whole property. The interesting thing is I have a friend that he does a lot of land stuff, and he's doing it on the LP side, but he's actually like ownership in the actual land. And he's almost creating himself a tax problem by flipping all this land. It's like, dude, you have to find that you're gonna like, you're making money. That's great. I'm proud of you, dude. But you got to find something that you can depreciate. So like, you need to buy some buildings with us. I'm trying to encourage him to be an LP in our deals as well, because then he's going to get the depreciation on the actual building.
Yeah. I had a problem a couple of years ago. Well, it seems like a couple of years ago, 2015, 2016, 2017, I needed to make money. So I made a lot of money. And then that tax bill rolled around, and basically all that money I made, I was like, oh my God, I got to give it to the IRS now. But I didn't have that money in my pocket. It was sitting in land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is a problem. Like, I can't just like fire sell this land. And then it's like, well, I could sell my real estate, my office building, or this or that. Guess what? I create another tax problem. Yep. So I had to start figuring it out. Okay, what do I need to buy on seller financing or with the bank? Like that one of those light industrial buildings, I had to put $150,000 down. Well, that's better than sending it to, the IRS.
But tell us more about the light industrial buildings that you're buying.
Yeah, so I really, really have done well on the smaller, like 2,500 to 3,000 square foot ones with the roll-up doors, small office inside, not massively huge, and I mean really small light industrial stuff, and just renting it out to a blue collar tenant that is their livelihood. They pay you on time every month. We do something called triple net leases, where the tenant pays the insurance and the taxes, and then they pay for the repairs. But when I was new, I didn't really know that, even though I had a triple net lease. I replaced like an air conditioner and something else. And then I read the lease and I was like, holy crap. Because they called me on I had two side by side. They called me on the other one. Oh, this air conditioner went out. And I was like, well, I gave you a little cookie on the last one. Read your lease. It's on you. So they got me for about an $8,000 air conditioner about a month prior, but I needed to read the freaking lease. Like, you'd have thought, like, here I am buying these buildings. I didn't even know what my lease said.
Yeah, that's funny. That's one of the best things, it
was a long lease though. It was like 20 pages, like
100%.
Boring stuff.
And that's pretty short, honestly. We see leases that are just stupid long, and it's like, thank God for ChatGPT now. When Claude and all
oh my God, and I had to pay like $2,100 for this lease too. I was like, what the heck? Why does it cost $2,100?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Attorney did a good job.
That's nuts. That's crazy. Well, yeah, that's what we preach so much on, this podcast is like, triple net is a game changer because the tenant's paying for everything. And if those expenses go up, like the insurance is bound to go up, taxes are bound to go up, that expense is passed on to the tenant, and your mortgage doesn't go up. Your mortgage stays the same. So like your cash flow just stays, and your rent goes up. So your rent's growing and your mortgage is staying the same. So like that's where the wealth is built. And then also, it's valued on the income. So if you buy a building that's empty and you fill it up on a triple net lease, you turn around, flip it, you can make lots of money just flipping that, which is something me and Jesse, I think, want to try to do this year. Find, very similar principle to the land or flipping of anything. We figure out what kind of price per foot the light industrial building's trading on, buy it, ideally have it empty, maybe do a light refresh where you paint, fix up the office space if there's like an office or two, and then list it for an owner user, because what we found is like owner users will always pay more than a investor. So we buy a building that's about to become empty. It's empty. We do a little fix up, put it on the market for sale. And the owner user who's not thinking about this as an investment, they're thinking, I just need to know how much my mortgage is going to be so I can operate my business out of here. They can pay a lot more money, and you can make, several $100,000 spread on one building. So we're interested in doing that this year.
And it's easier for them to get financing too.
Yep. 100%.
It's a little bit difficult sometimes to finance a vacant building. But there's definitely ways around it. Don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, the way I learned it was have the lease in place before you even buy the building with your tenant on a 5-year lease. You take that to the bank, and now the bank is evaluating it off of that 5-year lease. And it really helps if it's the same tenant that's already renting another building from you on this next door. So you already can show like, look, this is producing this much already. We've been doing it for a year. Now we got another lease signed. We're going to do the exact same thing for another 5 years.
Yeah.
That's how the bank financed mine. It was fairly easy.
That's cool.
I shouldn't say easy. It was they made me jump through hoops. I don't like banks. I absolutely do not like banks. I don't use banks for any of my brand new mobile home flipping, land purchasing. I only use banks for like buying the stuff that like light industrial building, one of them, the office building, our mixed space we're actually doing a refinance on. But I really enjoy just using regular people's money, even if I have to pay a little bit more for it.
For sure.
For sure.
And the beauty too is like out of the buildings we bought, almost all of them, like I'd say 90% of the buildings we bought have been on seller financing. We've only done bank one time. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Banks are absolutely terrible to work with.
Yeah.
They're scary.
I hate them. I hope they're all listening. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I just dropped your podcast ratings.
No, you're fine. There's some good ones out there for sure. Like there's some good reps. Like we have a couple guys who we're friends with and they're amazing. But they're also at the same time held to a standard that makes things more difficult.
That's right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So much.
It's not always the people's fault.
For sure. Well, this has been really awesome and informative. You mentioned, I think you said you have a community, right?
Yeah, we have the Land Sharks community where we teach people how to start these land businesses. And then we've recently, about a year ago, rolled out how to place these brand new mobile homes on land. So we call that Land Home League. It's been fun. I really enjoy getting people started doing this. I enjoy these podcasts. This is my favorite part of my day. I'm actually going to go sign tax returns after this. That's kind of the crappy part about this business, but it can't all be sunshine and rainbows, right?
Yeah,
that's
100%. That's
it's easy.
awesome.
Everybody would do it.
For sure. Yeah,
that's right.
Sure. So yeah, what's the best place for people to connect with you, find out about the community, all your templates you mentioned, and if they just want to reach out with land questions, what's the best place for them to do it?
Yeah, I post on YouTube every week. Brent L. Bowers. L does stand for land. No. But if you want to just get in touch, you can get straight to my calendar if anybody wants to go to the landsharks.com.
Landsharks.com. Okay, awesome. Well, you heard it here. If you guys are interested in learning about anything to do with land, Brent's your guy. Reach out to him. Go to his website. Like I said before, it's sick branding. I love it. If you're watching this, you see his hat. It's cool. It's got like a shark tail in the A and a shark face in the N. So that's really cool. I'm definitely gonna have to check out the 99 Designs too for our company because we don't necessarily have a logo yet.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
God bless, gentlemen.